Oh man, I did it again. I went and I spent more money on this build that is just gonna get nerfed at some point, but it doesn't even matter. I love this setup. I love this greatsword with rapier. I love it with musket. There is literally no greatsword that would pair better with these two weapons, and it has to do with the fact that this greatsword has so much arcane damage on it. So you know what? Even when they nerf it, I don't care. I am definitely still going to use this build, and I think it's worth the investment for me. For you guys, I'm not sure if you want to go and shell out the hundreds of thousands of gold that a build like this could cost you. Of course, I have a link to a written guide for this build down below, and that features the budget version of this build that you don't have to shell out a ton of money for and is almost as strong. So it's kind of up to you guys if you want to go for the high investment or not. Of course, at the end of this video, there is a build breakdown, and I go into actually quite a bit more detail this breakdown than I normally do. I think I might get back in the habit of doing a little bit more detailed build breakdowns for you guys. So let me know if you guys prefer the more detailed breakdown or just the quick breakdown of the build. And also, I have gotten quite a few submissions for the New World Top 5 fights. I'm very close to being able to put an episode together for you guys. So if you have an awesome fight that you want to see featured in the New World Top 5, you can email a link to that fight to Kristofer at pvpnewworld.com. Best of luck to you guys. And now let's get into that PvP commentary. We've got a couple capture the flag games for you guys today. And this one here, we're just hanging out at the enemy side, doing our best to get a bit of pressure and damage into these guys. The greatsword player comes around the corner. He attacks the other direction, but he spins his camera, so his wave actually still hits me. And then he switches to the bow, and we get on top of him. He ends up blowing his stamina, and we just feed him damage with the greatsword. And I like that. The reach on the heavy attack, we're able to stay on top as he tries to walk away. Then we finish that guy off, and then there's a cheeky rapier heavy attack. Ooh, man, don't see those very often. And I do manage to get the nice damage splat in there, evade out of it, and then beautiful job with the greatsword, just kind of baiting his moves out and then landing a big heavy attack when he's in the middle of that combination. We take that guy down as well, and then I jump on top of this enemy with the friendly, and we quickly take that guy out, but I'm taking a lot of pressure. We eat the fireball and everything, and this guy comes around the corner. There's one smack. We connect with the wave. We go for the crosscut. Tons of damage, and then another heavy attack from behind. Oh my god, that guy was squishy. We took him down really quickly, and then the enemy player here with his greatsword, he starts whipping waves at us. I actually take quite a bit of damage from him and the fire staff player again, so I'm forced to just kind of reset and heal up a little bit. And then I head back towards the center here. We trade with this guy, just trying to drop his health a little bit. My health drops too, but that's what trading is all about. And I don't manage to get the damage that I want on him, and I am forced again to just fall back a little bit and heal up. Jump on top of the flamethrower guy. We get really good damage, but again, there's a lot of pressure all over here, so I have to be really careful. Lucky we had grid up in the middle of that crosscut. I just kind of, yeah, we get killed anyway, but it prevented us from getting knocked back from that guy there. And then moving on to the next clip here. Sorry about my ugly mug in the back or the bottom left corner there. And this time we're on the other capture the flag map, and we're just kind of starting the fight with these guys here. I love the block on greatsword. We can actually shut down the fire staff really hard with the block. And that's kind of what I was doing there, just trying to bait his moves out, see what he would do. I try to go for a little bit of pressure with the rapier, but these guys very quickly kind of shut down my offensive approach there. So I get up top, and one of them ends up running away. So that makes the fight a lot easier for me. There's a big connection on the heavy attack, and I try again to get another heavy attack, but it doesn't end up working as I hit the ledge instead of the player there. Then I jump on top of the healer with the rapier. We get really big damage with the flurry, and the friendly player up top just getting smashed right now. So I try to jump on the player at the bottom here. It looks like the friendly has gone down. We get really good damage on him. There's the spin from the greatsword to finish him off. Oh man, and then we do connect the crescent wave. Again, we're kind of facing a weird direction, but the wave will shoot where you are facing at the end of the heavy attack. And that was beautiful there. We had the Defiant stance up as they're all bashing on me. We block all those attacks and we get the finishing move. Jump down to the bottom. There's the heavy attack into the crosscut. Another enemy player goes down. And then I switch back to the rapier and I try to get a little bit of offense into this, this mage here. But yeah, unfortunately, it's tough to approach the Ice Gauntlet on a full melee build, so we have to be careful, and he throws his stuff down. I didn't want to just step willfully into that trap as the reinforcements come in here, and I just keep on trying to whip those waves at the guys on the top, and oh man, that's That's awkward. We just slid right off the edge. And it looks like the friendly player, again, just getting smashed by these guys. He ends up going down. I do land a nice heavy attack there, and we go for a little bit of pressure with it. Find this guy lower on health. There is the flurry. Oh my god, we get him so quickly, just jumping on top of him with the rapier. I think that's the big advantage of running rapier and greatsword. Greatsword hits really hard, but it's very slow and fairly predictable. Rapier is very fast and can still do tons of damage in a really short period of time. And it's all about just picking which weapon to use at what time, especially knowing what weapon does well against certain matchups, like against a Warhammer. You probably want to keep the rapier out because you're much faster than the hammer, etc. Then we get back up top here. We whip one heavy attack out. An enemy player goes down. I try again to get another heavy attack in. I maybe should have tried the crosscut cancel. It was a little bit risky to go for, so I didn't do it. But we could have got the kill for sure if we had gone for the cancel. But that's okay. I get back up around the other side. Still managed to get the finishing blow on that player. And then more enemy players respawning, coming back in here. And I'm just doing my best to just hold the flag. There we go. Roll into the rapier, evade just to avoid that incoming kind of lockdown combo. And then right back on top of these guys with the greatsword. Just miss my heavy attack. No big deal. And again, I just go back around the pillar, reset my heals a little bit, come back up top, try to aim for the healer. We're getting good damage into him, but unfortunately, we missed the wave on that last heavy attack. So I end up not getting the... that could have been the killing blow, to be honest. So I end up missing out on that opportunity. Pop my ultimate. The flamethrower guy, he is not hitting crazy hard with it, but if we let him tick us a little bit too long with it, then we really start to feel the burn. No pun intended. And there we go. Okay, let's take a look at that build. Starting off with the attribute points. 100 strength, 150 intel, 350 dex. This is the stat spread for a rapier and greatsword weapon combo, especially with Crescent's wave. The wave itself dealing arcane damage, going to benefit a ton from going for 150 intel. And then, of course, rapier scaling from intelligence is nice. And the rapier also benefits a little bit from the strength gain here. 5% light attack damage, 10% physical damage. So it's not like we completely miss out on the rapier by going for strength. But this is the way to go, I think. This is a really well-balanced combo for both of these weapons. And honestly, I've never played Greatsword Rapier and had it do this much damage ever in any previous build that I've played. So this is really nice. Even when they nerf, not if they nerf the Crescent's wave, this is still going to be the best in slot Greatsword Rapier setup. And then finally, we've got 100 Constitution. This is on the low side. If you want to go more con, you can start chopping away at some of the intel here. You could maybe take the 350 dex down to just 300. That being said, this build does benefit a ton from having a high crit rate on the greatsword side of things. So it's kind of up to you if you want to do that. So you could easily push like 150, 200 con on this build if you wanted and still maintain great damage. Now let's take a look at the weapon masteries for this build. Starting off with the rapier, you guys have seen this tree from me millions of times. The evade, the flesh, and the flurry. That's basically my favorite rapier setup right now. I really like it. Lots of mobility, lots of offense, lots of defense. This is a great all-around, well-balanced rapier kit. And then flurry, we do have leeching flurry on the armor to make sure this is working the way we want it to work. And then taking a look at the greatsword side of things, I actually made one little change from the previous greatsword setup that I was running, and that is that I've added guarded shift to the build. The reason I've added guarded shift and gotten rid of this steadfast refresh, pretty much because this was the only perk I could get rid of, but the reason I added guarded shift is because I really like Defiant Stance, especially on such a squishy build. Defiant Stance can go a really long way. So yeah, I think that's a good addition to this build. Having the cooldown reduction on the heavies is a really big deal as well, so getting for that unrelenting onslaught perk is important. Now let's take a look at the equipment that I'm running. Starting off with the Crescent's Wave, we've got the Augmented Empowered Gem here. Now I have talked about this a bit in the past. You have a few options for the gem on Crescent Wave. If you want to maximize just the wave's damage, I would go with Opal or Diamond, depending on your Greatsword kit. Diamond is a very specialized Greatsword build if you want to go that route. But if you just want to have great all-around Greatsword damage while still being able to do good damage with the wave, I think the Empowered split is the way to go. I shelled out all the money for this build, as I said at the beginning of the video, so we have got those very expensive Empowered Rune Glass gems on here. So yeah, it's up to the user how you want to do this. I really value the fact that we can go for the damage split because it benefits a lot from our attribute points, and most people are running slash resist anyway. So if you want to have a well-rounded greatsword kit, I would recommend this. If you want to maximize wave damage, opal or diamond. And then taking a look at the rapier here, I have got the narwhal tusk. We got vicious, penetrating the empowered, and sundering stacks. I would like to have, instead of penetrating the empowered, either omnidirectional evade or penetrating backstab. And then vicious I would probably keep, but omni or pen in that spot as well is not terrible either. Sundering stacks is fantastic. So yeah, it's up to you how you want to build your rapier. But I do really like the narwhal tusk because you can just put stacks on it and it's a very cheap and powerful rapier to get your hands on. And then for the armor pieces, we've got the old crown. You have to run the old crown to hit the stat jump points on this build. You could use the attuned leather pants as your budget option, but like it says in the thumbnail, this is not the budget build. This is the I spent way too much money on this build. And then, of course, shirking heals for the old crown. I like it a lot. Shirking heals in general, really useful for PvP, especially if you don't have a healer. I play a lot of solo, and that's why I value the shirking heals so much. On the chest piece, of course, you want vital synergy. And then on the gloves, I have my hasted vigor. The rest of the perks, of course, just shirking heals, refreshing. On the legs, we've got shirking energy. And finally, we've got leeching flurry on the boots. This is an absolute must-have to make that flurry work properly in PvP. And then for the jewelry here, my Gorgon's amulet, I've got stam recovery, divine and health. You could go for an extra resist here. Either slash or flame resist would be my preferred perks of choice if you could get them. And then for the ring, we've got the Gorgonite ring with the arcane damage, healing breeze, and hardy. This cost me a pretty penny to make myself because no one is selling this ring. I also have plus intelligence on this here. In order to hit these jump points, you cannot have all magnify. You need to have a couple pieces that either have intelligence, strength, or constitution. So that's why we've got this here. And then last but not least, the endless thirst. This is the earring of choice, giving you really powerful potions. As long as you cycle between two, there is no real negative effect to using Endless Thirst. And then, of course, the Empowering Toast and Fortifying Toast are really nice, and I went with Regenerating as my passive. You could go with Nimble, or even Refreshing Toast, but, well, no, not Refreshing Toast, because that won't benefit at all from the potion swapping. So, yeah, Nimble or Regen for this guy here. And then we have got the Heart Rune of Stone Form. This one's just my favorite one for staying alive. And there you go, guys. That is the build. A little bit more of a build breakdown today than I normally do. And I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, have a great night, everybody. And I'll see you next time.